one story I remember hearing was that one of the rooms was in the trail of night marchers.
Oh,
Is that correct?
okay. Okay, so let's zoom out on that. So this night marches, or let's just zoom out and talk about the Allah, the old pathways from the ancient days, right?
Okay.
So when we were young, there
Hey,
was
real quick, let's tell the people what are night marchers, because there's people that are watching us that don't know.
Yeah, well, night marchers is like stories of connected to the warriors of the ancient days, and so the common urban legend or whatnot is that as the warriors go around the island, usually from the mountain to the sea or whatnot, those are the night marches because they're they're moving around at night.
Spirits, huh?
Spirits of the warriors, yeah. But so what we got to understand is that we had trails, like roads, if you will, well-known pathways from the ancient days that went around the island, went through the middle of the island, and then you had lesser, not the major trails, but secondary trails that went Mauka to Makai. So when we were young, the elders, would tell us that, the trail, one of the trails from Mauka to Makai, it goes down from Makakilo, or from the mountain, I should say, from the mountain, not necessarily Makakilo, down through Honokai Hale and to down to the ocean. And it's what has become the more famous quote unquote urban legend is the night marches. In some cases, people say, "Oh, it's the trail that the ali'i took, right? The royalty, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And then some people it's just a trail, an ancient trail that's so well traveled that it's, you still have the mana, you still have the spirit of everyone, that know that trail. So it is said that before I was born, there was an accident like almost every month, like sometimes more than once a month, fatal or near fatal, when they built that stretch of highway that connects to Farrington Highway. They stretch a highway at maybe from the water park, the end of Kapolei, went to Honokai. And so they brought a priest out to bless it, and they brought a kahuna to bless it as well, because of whatever it was, the construction had disturbed. So that's that, because growing up, different families, different people would say, where exactly the trail went through Honokai Hale, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, we cannot say for certain, whose house or what. But here's the interesting thing. I'm an archaeologist now. And again, it's always in retrospect. As I look back and I talk to kupuna, I talk to elders, and I talk to cultural practitioners around the state for whatever development is happening or something. This thing about the Mauka Makai Trail, it doesn't come up all the time. There's not too many communities where you go in and you say, oh, they're building one mall here, they're going to make the road here, or, is there anything culturally significant that the developer or the construction should watch out for and, not destroy, whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
This thing about a Mauka Makai Trail it's really rare. You won't, hardly ever hear about it. And looking back, it still didn't really click in my mind until I saw the reports of Waimanalo landfill. And when Waimanalo landfill and talking about expanding the landfill, and then they're talking to elders about Waimanalo landfill and or Makaiva, which is the next gulch over, all of these things surface again. People are saying, that's a trail, and all that. And so I was like, interesting, because you have Waimanalo Gulch, you have Makaiva, you have Avanui, you have all these gulches right where Honokai is, right? This is the Pukawa, is the foothills there. But you get the same story, side by side. So in my Mana'o, there's probably more than one trail that went from Makunumakai here, but it was an important trail. It was an important trail from the old days, that so much so that in the 1900s and the 21st century 2000s, right? It still has that mana that people say, there's a trail. The trail was here. The trail was here. The exact location, maybe not so important, but just the fact that, what does that signify? Why was that so important? Well, we do have a fishery out here, a traditional fishery, marine abundance, right? And then we have the resources right at the top of the mountain. We know how timberline Palehua is, well forested. And then in between you have all these forest birds and the sweet potato and whatnot, the abundance of the land that you can see why it was it's a very, very close proximity from Manavahua is this peak right here, and Mauna Kapu, the two peaks over there, and then you have Palehua is the in between area, and then you have this whole beach area, and even Waimanalo is the old name of the village, right? And Manalo is drinking water. There were springs here. There was places where people could get water, and there was a sinkholes where you could get water. That it was important, and so that's my
We're out of
take.
water now. How come there's no springs? Or are there?
There's some spring. Okay, so up on the mountain top along the ridges and hills, there's like little springs here and there. But for our area at the bottom, what was the most important was the sinkholes, because the sinkholes in this karstic environment, the way it evolved is that it opened to the subterranean waters, and that's where you could get your drinking water, or you could get your water to bathe. This water was a water that came from upland, and it went underneath. You notice this corner of Oahu does not have an above ground stream, but the water was all underneath. So you have to know from the ancient days, where the sinkholes, which ones to get your good water, which ones you can bathe in, where's the big sinkholes you can bathe in, and then all of that would feed into what is West Beach, what is now Ko'olina Resort, where the harbor is also. And then as that seeps out, any place these fresh waters, if you think of where an above ground stream is, anywhere those waters go into the ocean, it brings all the nutrients, and that's why you're gonna have like so much different. You get first the limu, you get the smaller organisms, and then you get the smaller fish, the bigger fish. You just have a healthy marine environment, and that's why this was established as a fishery, even though we had no above ground stream, because the water was coming down through the karstic limestone, the Pa'akea, coming down to the ocean. So
how did the man-made lagoons affect that?
So the lagoons as well as the harbor, they used TNT, to bust the reef, and then they were like just digging. And what they did was they ended up opening especially the big one was at the harbor. They opened up one big puka, so that I wish I had the number, but I can retrieve that. Millions and millions of fresh water a day was just pouring into the ocean. And then we get that. And then when they built these man-made lagoons, nobody mapped it out. So we cannot say for certain which parts they broke, but they broke them. How you going to dig into the ground and all of that? And, it's just, once you change the hydrology, you messing up the whole natural system of where the nutrients flow out. You still have water flowing out and bringing nutrients, but it just changed it, and so life goes on.
Okay, tell me this: what did Ko'olina look like 200 years ago?
200 years ago. Okay, so that's the 1800s. So 200 years ago, it right around this time probably didn't have kiawe yet. Willy trees. You had it was a dryland forested landscape, but the sort of karst is like a limestone. It's like old coral because we're at the tip of a coral bed that was pushed up out of the ocean. That's why a lot of it is like white chalky road and all of that. And then off of that, the reef is still living. And so because of the nature of the geology, the water, when it does rain, after so many hundreds of years, you get all these little sinkholes that form, and that will lead you to the underground water. So that it was a dryland forest. Kolino is a dryland forest, right? You also have some inland fish ponds, inland marshy kind of fish pond, right? One big one was right by where monkey pods stay and all of that area right there. That whole area right there was like a natural. So you have the kind of fish ponds where you gotta make the wall on the outside.
Yeah.
But you also have the kind of fish pond called Pu'eone where it's a sand dune and then the ocean, and then on the inside is the pond. And every once in a while it opens up, depending on the water flow, and then it closes up and back and forth. So you have that feeding into the fish pond here, as well as the water coming from above and then feeding underneath. And so you had, I'm not sure if you had one or you had two. And then along the coastline, you had like all of these natural lagoons. And the lagoons are so beautiful. Like everyone was different. You can walk along, you can run along the reef, and it was all different. Like, oh, go jump in this one. Okay, swim. Okay, go more down. Jump in the other one. And it was just, wow, it was the most beautiful place. I wish I took a picture.
Well, me and my brother, we fish over here too, and there's still an abundance of reds and omilu, and like there's a lot of fish here.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just playing. No, there's no fish here.
no, you know what?
No come fish here, but no.
Oh yeah. No, actually, bro.
Scarce.
Yeah.
No, but I was also wondering, like, was this a vacation destination? What was the cultural significance for Native Hawaiians here? Did the chiefs and chiefess come and vacation here too?
Yeah. So over one of the lagoons on the other side that Auntie Nettie, Tiffany takes care of, sweet Auntie Nettie. She's awesome. She's the kahu, and her mom took care of it before her. Lani Kuhonua, that Kamukila Campbell called it. Where heaven touches the earth. But there's that bay over there that was it was a favorite. We're told it was a favorite of Chief Kakuyeheva. I want to say when Queen Ka'ahumanu came by, I think, was it her? I think it was her also. But I know Chief Kakuyeheva, and then the kahuna, something Kama'o. His name is escaping me. But yeah, so those are like that. It was a known place. These little lagoons, especially the one over at the end, by where the homes are, and it would have been fronting where the inland fish pond Loko'i Apu'eone was at.
Okay. Okay, so